Good afternoon, everybody in California, especially in the Elk Grove area, and a few hellos to those people down south in LA. My name is Leo Naranjo, the fourth candidate for governor of California in 2026 election, and this email message today, or I should say this X message today, is in response to a text message or an X posting that was delivered by Miss Roxanne Hoge. And I was going to do it online, but I thought the more personal touch would be to do it in person with the video commentary. So let me start basically answering what you asked me. Number one, I understand that you're pushing Prop 50. The problem with the Republican Party is that's all they do is they push one item on everybody, and they cause great panic because this is the only thing that they can do or talk about. Prop 50, Prop 50, Prop 50. While everybody's staring at Prop 50, the legislature is going bananas in the state of California at the legislature's house, Assembly House, Sacramento, at the Capitol. As fast as they can come up with ideas, they're pushing them through, one right after the other. Stupid law after stupid law after stupid law. We've already seen a few that have been announced by some of the ladies trying to resist it. AB 495 is an example. So yes, I understand Prop 50 is a big thing for right now, but at some point Prop 50 is going to end. My question is, when are we going to start paying attention to the governor's race? Or is that unimportant for you folks in central committees and the powers that be at the state level? Because every time I ask questions about the governor's race, I keep getting the same sorry excuse. It's not on our radar yet. Well, when the hell is it going to be on your radar? It's been on the Democrats' radar since 2023 when they thought Eleni Kolonikis was going to be their darling and take over behind Gavin Newsom. Till Ms. Harris stepped in, she bowed out, and then Ms. Harris bowed out, and then they panicked, and now they try to jump on Katie Porter, but she's made herself look like an ass, so that's kind of difficult for the demos. Meanwhile, the party is pushing two individuals on Californians as if they're the only candidates worthy of mention. And sad to say, they seem to be the only candidates that you people are worthy to mention. Not the other ones who are running, and especially not the grassroots candidates. So yeah, I understand about Prop 50 and the urgency. One of your Central Committee members is in a panic because she thinks that the lack of voter response from Republican voters is going to kill the no vote on Prop 50. Voting happens on the 4th of November. What are you in a panic for? What are you losing about? She's posting as fast as she can about how quote-unquote juvenile Republican voters are, that they don't see the urgency in the Prop 50 no vote. And you expect people to vote your way by calling them juvenile. Must be a new thing that I'm not aware of on what to do for campaign purposes, but okay, I'll give you that one. So if that's all that anybody in California is caring about is Prop 50, that's kind of sad that you can't do more than one thing at the same time that have equal importance. The next question you had, or the next statement you had, is yes, I was referring to your friend, Mr. Steve Hilton, the candidate for governor of 2026, just like I am candidate for governor in 2026. You said, quote, by the way, he's Hungarian, quote, but he does have a dreamy English accent. First of all, ma'am, he's Hungarian in descent. His parents were Hungarian. He was born in London, England. So that was kind of a misquote on your part. Secondly, the gentleman said that he renounced his British citizenship. The funny part is that I don't think the Brits knew that he did it because they've reported he's a dual citizen. We've reported in the U.S. that he's a dual citizen. So I'm not sure what your intent was, that he's Hungarian. If I don't know you that well to make an intent, so I'll keep that as a neutral comment. You also stated that you're an immigrant as well. Is that okay? And I'm not really sure where you were going with that question, but I'll run with it a little bit just for entertainment purposes. Yes, you are an immigrant and you legally came to the U.S. Congratulations, you became a U.S. citizen. Steve Hilton, born in England, came to the U.S., became a U.S. citizen. Now he has dual citizenship. Both of you came here legally. Outstanding. Very impressive. Unlike the 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 million, depending on who you ask, that flooded through into our country illegally and that Mr. Trump is now trying to vacate from our nation while meeting stiff resistance from everybody under the sun who want illegal aliens to remain in this country so that they can take political advantage, financial advantage of their being here. I don't understand the point of making the comment that you were an immigrant as well, and is that okay, as if you would think that I would be hostile to you being an immigrant. I'm not hostile to you being an immigrant. I will question, however, an individual that has dual citizenship running for an office in this state, because it brings into doubt and some question and suspicion or suspect loyalties on who and where you fall if anything happens. Do you fall on the side of the U.S., as you should, or do you fall on the side of England, where you came from and you still hold citizenship to? One of the posters on the X platform did ask the question about a particular form you have to complete and remand back to the British government that officially declares you've renounced your citizenship. We should be able to ask you for that form to verify that is exactly what you did. But like the No on 50 so-called lawsuit filed on the 4th of September, we haven't seen much of anything in the way of forms. And while we're on this topic, let me circle back around to that little bit of tidbit. You're hot about no on Prop 50. As you said, you're pushing no on 50. That's all anyone who cares about California should be doing right now. We had 2 attempts by California lawmakers, political individuals, knowledgeable political individuals that are Republicans in the California system, sue twice and get rebuffed twice by the state Supreme Court. And yet here comes Mr. Hilton, barely 6 years in the nation, and is able to file a Title 14 lawsuit in federal court to stop Prop 50? That's kind of amazing, his level of intelligence and knowledge of our political system and our legal system to do that. And it brings into question why our own party wasn't able to do that. But moving along, he filed that on the 4th of September. By the 21st, there should have been a response back. According to Governor Newsom's camp, Geno Newsom, his people are saying the paperwork was never filed correctly, and therefore they've never bothered to acknowledge the lawsuit. According to the Sacramento Bee, paperwork wasn't filed correctly. That's why nobody's acknowledged the lawsuit. But according to your friend, we are now getting a delayed court date on the 6th or 7th of November after the vote of Prop 50. So my question is, we have yet to see any forms, any lawsuit interjections by the court where a judge has signed off stating everything that your friend is announcing to the public. That we have a court hearing set for 6th, 7th of November, that we have a case number, a judge, a docket number, we have a building, a room, a date, a time. I haven't seen any of that. I've seen a red folder on a recent expos passed. So yeah, I have questions, because that's what I do when things look suspect and it looks like political gamemanship, is I ask questions. And since you brought up Prop 50, let me ask another question. If you and the Republican Party of this state are so hell-bent on stopping the Prop 50, vote no on Prop 50, why haven't we heard anything from the California GOP, from the LA GOP, from any central committee throughout California of the GOP supporting this man's efforts to sue to stop this Prop 50 debacle? Kind of funny that he seems to be suing on his own, and nobody in the state at the GOP level, at any level, is supporting his efforts, announcing his efforts, or showing where his efforts are. Yep, that's questionable for me too. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the background. And I noticed that you had another post, by the way, which I thought was kind of cute and comical, because it deals with California again. Only this time I noticed you put maybe another friend of yours, Mr. Caruso. Rick Caruso was included in that chain as well. Rick Caruso, you are a Republican, correct? That man used to be a Republican too. And then he switched to an independent. Then he switched to a Democrat. And then he did all kinds of things that were pro-Democrat and anti-Republican. So I'm kind of starting to ask and question and wonder if that's truly your friend. I get it. If he's a political friend, I might not get it too much. But if you're knee-deep trying to support him and sucker the American public in California that he's going to be the next Republican candidate for this state, then both of us have an issue, because that man has not qualified nor fit to be governor as a Republican, much less backed by this party. I don't care how many tickets he sells. I don't care how much money he raised. I don't care how rich he is. The man changed skin like you change your underwear through the course of the day. He went from Republican to Democrat and embraced that party fully and wholly. And now we're trying to cozy up to him. And why? We cozied up to a sheriff, but threw him overboard when we thought Mel Gibson was coming on deck. Or did you forget that? But then Mel Gibson had to make a movie and he decided not to run. Oops, already threw the sheriff overboard. It was announced back in April that there was a huge gap of noise coming from the Republican Party until your friend showed up to suddenly run for governor. Wow, that's interesting. Your friend pretty much had a temper tantrum when Gavin Newsom wouldn't allow him on his podcast. I'm not sure why your friend wanted so desperately to be on Gavin Newsom's podcast, because to me, there is nothing Gavin Newsom can say, do, or remark towards anything in this world other than good night, good luck, goodbye, and good riddance. You're a termed out failure. Adios. I'm not trying to crawl onto his podcast to have a conversation with a loser who used to be the governor in the next 9 months. I could care less what his ideas are, or what he feels, or what he wants to say about the concept of running this state. We've already seen the concept of what he's done to our state. He was the individual, your friend, who seemed most concerned about Kamala Harris jumping into the race, which I thought was kind of humorous, because while he was quaking, I was dancing in delight and hoping and yelling and screaming to everybody I possibly could. I wanted Kamala Harris to be in the race for governor of California. I wanted to see that woman jump in and put her name in the hat, because that would have been the greatest opportunity to flame her once and for all in a debate. Unfortunately, she quit, which is typical for what she does. And now, our GOP is pushing, and yes, I did say the word correctly, pushing two individuals that for some reason, governorship is not something you're concerned with as time ticks by and the clock winds down, and we're getting closer and closer to the point where we're not going to be able to ask questions or put these individuals on the hot seat, because lo and behold, it'll be time to run the primary race. And then you're going to start lambasting and pushing forth the only two people that you're noticing or care to notice, or are telling individuals in the state these are the only two candidates that matter, when that's not true. If you really dug deep into the backgrounds of these two individuals, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But just to give you a clue, in case your friend has a background of gutting the Conservative Party in England and turning it into a progressive Green Party. Your friend has made some derogatory statements about grassroots and how they impede the standings of the elites within the political realms. Not words to that effect, but close to it. You can find the reading to yourself. And from what I understand, according to the first so-called roundabout meeting of the governor candidates, held in private, held without recordings, held without a lot of other people's knowledge, your friend has an issue with how government acts, reacts, and works under its current form, because it's not as similar to the words I believe were spoken around the framework of they're not as easy to manipulate as they are in Parliament back home, but I would like to see them kind of act similar here. You take that for whatever you want and ask the people who are there at that secret meeting, what was all that about? Maybe you should ask your friend what his feelings are on our governmental system vis-a-vis to the British governmental system. But let me give you a clue about that one. I don't care what they do in England. I worry and care about what they do here in California. That's my concern. What the English are doing to themselves is an embarrassment. What that gentleman helped prep up England to be today is an embarrassment. And when you're standing there, sitting there, lying there, or whatever, telling me on an X post that the only thing that matters is Prop 50, and praising the fact that we've gotten rid of a king back in 1776, yet you're on the cusp of putting the very element into our governor's seat that we threw out on the East Coast, that's trying to be anointed here to the West Coast, that's an issue. So I want to extend the invite to you. You can find those tickets of Kim Yater's Take Your Power Back 8 November Government Debate /Forum, San Marcos, California, 8 November. Some more information will be coming out on that. As soon as I get back, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and start blasting all that out, and I'm going to include you with it. I would hope to see you there. I would love to meet you there. And we'll see whether or not your friend is going to show up to this event, or like the party's other so-called favored and only governor candidate, is he going to back out as well? From what I heard, our brave sheriff has declined, actually refused to show up to the 8 November governor debate /forum. Why would he do that? Pundits say because he's #1 in the rankings, depending on who you ask. It's not Carl DeMauro. Carl DeMauro put him down around 10%. But they say because he's so high in the rankings, him showing up to this type of forum would do nothing but be damaging to his campaign. My statement to that is this: you not showing up to this forum, sir, is indicative that you're starting to come down with a very bad disease that we don't have to have, we don't need to have, and we should not have on Republican candidates. And that disease is called Kamala Harris-itis. You're running away from debates. You're running away from hard questions. You're running away from the hard investigations that people have on your candidacy. You think that this is going to be a hide-in-the-basement moment, and it's not. You think that the party is going to carry you across because you're special with Mr. Trump and you've done all kinds of wonderful things in Riverside, California, but you're not. At some point between now and November, the gloves have to come off. We have to start getting real, and we have to start looking at people running for office. And what we have to do is the grassroots, those people just like me who are voters, those people who get overlooked by everybody and were considered, lucky to be alive, breathing the same air. When you want us, you'll come out of the woodwork like you are now on Prop 50. We're the greatest thing since sliced bread for you folks. The political powers right now are begging, stomping, threatening, cajoling everything they can to get the vote out from the Republicans because this is what they want. This is what they need. Well, what is it that the people here need? And what we need are decent candidates, not two people shoved down our throats like you're trying to do at the party level, at the Central Committee levels, because they sell tickets, because they fill out reservations for luncheons. This is from a Northern California Central Committee regional director. So if you have any problems with that, go back and look at the video where that person made the ultimate statements to say that openly. I'm pretty sure your donors have not been told that. So, nice to meet you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Atlanta was great. My family and I got to run around. We did get to see some of the protesters lining up, but we were nowhere near that mass or that cluster as they did the No Kings March around Atlanta. Instead, we saw some other wonderful sights in Atlanta. Nice city, hot in the summer, gets a little colder in the winter. And it's someplace I thought I would never be back to after I left Fort Stewart, Georgia, but yet here I am, checking on my daughter, checking on the town of Ileton, having to walk away from that because those people are dead set on destroying their city. If you're following me, you'll see what I've been doing to try and help those people save their city. This is what people do on trying to help California to get out of the morass and the mess that we're in. Not make public statement, public stunt, let's get some voters revved up videos that are akin to watching a magic show in Las Vegas. A lot of pomp and no substance. So Ms. Hoge, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you very much for everybody listening. Sorry the lighting is going bad. I'm not here to turn on the outdoor light because I'm sitting on a patio in Georgia. I'll be back in about 3 days, and then I'll start doing what I need to do to rev up again. Prop 50, I'll be voting no when I show back up to the state in person, contrary to the young lady that's panicking and calling people who do that losers or juvenile or tantamount to we're going to lose because of us. 5 million Republicans aren't voting. Gee, I wonder why you keep calling voters juvenile. So I'll be doing my part there. And then I'll be throwing out the information I need to per Miss Yeater's 8 November government forum. Yes, I'll be doing that also. And I hope to see everybody there on the 8th of November, because from what I'm reading, if I'm reading it correctly, it's not going to be just taped. It's going to be live, and it's going to be great. God bless each and every one of you. You guys have a great, wonderful weekend. We'll see you in about 2 or 3 days. Take care.